Everybody knows we are recording this meeting for future posting on the OPDC. Detective Sloan is reporting to us from the Graffiti Squad, City of Pittsburgh Police. Officer Sloan, yeah, you say that the process is improving. Is there anything that we can do to make it a little more efficient?
This is something I have to work on. I have to schedule some meetings. We were in the process before COVID of sitting down with the mayor's office and coming down with some ideas to make it work a little better. But it's just going to take a little bit of time.
Would it be possible for someone from our group to join you for those meetings? Because right now we've been hit pretty badly during the summer with all the protests and everything, and even ongoing now. I'm still amazed at how much new graffiti I see in the middle of winter, which is unusual.
Yeah, it is unusual. That's usually a time where we catch up on everything during the winter, but this winter has been kind of active. So, but yeah, I think your group can. What I can do is I can contact the mayor's office and see if we can get the ball rolling again, being that I'm back now.
Now, one of our biggest problems, well, there are two big issues that we have. 2610 Forbes Avenue, which is actually a city-owned property, keeps getting tagged, and the Clean and Lee guys keep coming out, which they're going to do again in the spring. Thank you, PLI, Desi. The request has been made for them to come out and paint it over again, but it's like that's a kind of problem. The biggest problem is the vacant buildings. Houses are the ones that are really getting tagged over and over and over again. Now, in the case of 2610, the city is going to remediate the issue, but when we come to Oakland Gateway Ventures houses on the first block of the Boulevard by Bates, Bates by the Boulevard, I mean, that hasn't been touched in over 10 months at least.
Right, right. I think one of the biggest weapons we can use is cameras. So maybe that is something that we can talk to the city about, especially in areas where it's being just chronically tagged over and over again. I think the biggest deterrent for graffiti is making an arrest. And graffiti is one of those crimes where if we don't have video or catch them in the act, they almost get away with it. So, you know, other than that, it's kind of just like they tag, we clean, they tag, we clean. But I think one of the biggest deterrents could be cameras, that even if they're temporary cameras that we can place in areas like the street, you're almost guaranteed if you clean Bates off, someone's going to come back and tag it like immediately.
Yeah. No,
so I think if we can talk the city into like getting temporary cameras put in areas where we know there's definitely going to be some activity, I think that would definitely help.
Okay, who in the city, all our city people here, would we talk to about getting cameras installed across from the Bates Street houses? Anybody want to volunteer?
I can certainly bring that back and start that conversation. Can you give me the addresses?
Yes, I can email you the addresses this afternoon, and I can also send you my last set of images.
Thank you.
It's been, I mean, besides the fact that the buildings are falling down, we've had a fire there. It's, you know, it's just like the old saying, the graffiti is attracting the wrong element. We've had break-ins in the building. We had an intentional fire set in one of the houses that spread to two of the other houses on each side. And it just, that's also the first thing people see when they come into Oakland off the Parkway East. So.
I have a question about arrest. The DEMO, has there been any progress on catching him? Because he's been all over, not just in Oakland.
Not that I know of. I've only been back for like maybe a month and a half, so I'm trying to catch up on everything since I was off from August. But
is he on your radar? Do you know who I'm talking about? And
yeah, he's the new tags?
Yeah.
Okay, he is now.
Okay, yeah, DEMO.
Okay,
Very prolific.
Yeah,
okay, I'll definitely keep track of him now.
not just prolific.
Also, you had, or yesterday, the media was requested to run video showing images of a guy tagging down by the ice house, the PPG. What do they call that? Ice arena nowadays. I don't know whose name it is anymore.
Right.
PG
Yeah,
Paint.
but he's the one that's doing the bat, which we also have in Oakland.
Yeah, after yesterday, he's another one. He's on my radar now. We found out he writes the tag Beyond and in bats and all types of other kind of strange symbols. But we have him identified. He's going to be charged.
Oh,
As soon as I get back to work tomorrow, he's going to be charged. His name is Emmanuel Davis.
great.
And I think he's responsible for it. He's also, I've talked to Duquesne University Police,
Mm-hmm.
and they caught him tagging their properties as well. So he's going to be charged with the other stuff going on downtown. So, but I got a feeling that after, he's been identified now, I think we're going to be able to clear a lot of cases with his tag.
I'll look through my images because I'm pretty sure I have a couple of bats
Right, right.
somewhere.
Right.
So. And you say the term Beyond?
Yeah, he writes the tag Beyond and those bat symbols.
Okay,
I think the media covered that yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's not exactly what you call not noticeable with pink hair.
Yeah, he was pretty. Once I got the picture, I said, we posted the media release, and I say my phone rang within 60 seconds of the media post. Someone called. That's the fastest I've ever identified anybody.
Oh, that's great. Now, for somebody that owns property that continuously gets tagged, like I have some people that live on Juliet Street and the little alley on Hardy, people are going along there and tagging stuff. I mean, they can't be putting cameras up all over the place.
Right.
For anything that they can do. Because a lot of us feel like it's getting lost in 311, that nothing is happening with it.
Right. Yeah, that system gets overwhelmed because you only have a couple of people doing a lot of work. The biggest deterrent would be making arrests. We give people advice to keep like areas kind of like well lit. So maybe installing a motion detector light. And even if they don't have resources to put a camera up, they can put up a fake camera right in the area where they're being tagged at, and that's somewhat of a deterrent for taggers as well. That's a little more cost effective, and just until they can afford to put up an actual camera system. So there are a couple of deterrents, and also encouraging their neighbors to clean graffiti as well, because kind of like you said, graffiti attracts certain elements. Graffiti also attracts other graffiti. So if there's an alleyway where we can get the entire alleyway cleaned, it'll be less likely to be tagged as well.
Yeah, I just think that they feel it's really frustrating to them because they're paying to have their properties cleaned up and painted and then it just gets tagged again. So it's this cycle. It's not getting broken because I don't know if it's looked at as a victimless crime or what, but it is there, for some of these people to have to pay to have paint removed is a big expense that they just can't afford.
Right, and they can always utilize the Graffiti Busters program. All they would have to do is file a police report and have a CCR number. Now in the wintertime, the Graffiti Busters is only able to operate when the weather, obviously when the weather is not really bad, and also when the temperature is, they can only use their chemicals when the temperature is above a certain degree. So they get a little backlogged in months where it's just, like when it's just cold all the time. But in the summertime, they're usually pretty good at clearing all of their complaints. So, and it's free of charge for city residents. You don't have to pay anything for it.
Okay, but when we file over 311, we're not getting a police report number or anything. So do
Yeah,
you
that's a
file
different.
directly with the police too?
Yes, if you want to utilize the Graffiti Busters program, you have to get a police report, and that officer will just give the victim the CCR. It's called a CCR number, and with that number, they can call Graffiti Busters. Their number is 412. I think it's 665-3609, and they can call them directly. And they can request that the Graffiti Busters come out and clean their property. But again, in the wintertime, they get so backlogged, they may just have to leave a message. But in the summertime, they usually move along pretty well.
Yeah. Would they send some kind of confirmation that they've received the request? You know?
I'm not sure. You probably just have to make sure you speak to the receptionist, and I'd assume that she'll put them on some type of list. But I'm not sure if they give a confirmation on that or not.
But you need the police number for that, the report number, excuse me.
Yes, the CCR number.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I just have one comment about timeliness. When we were getting a whole lot of graffiti painted on the back of the old Almond Cadillac site, which has now been remodeled and whatever, somebody in our neighborhood had a big 5-gallon tub of white paint, and as soon as that graffiti went up, it was painted over, and that was very effective. Sometimes we had giant murals, and it was very expensive for these young people. Some of us always suspected at that point that they were maybe Art Institute students and some of their instructors, because some of them were cited thinking they were not cited, but seen thinking they were neighbors, didn't say anything. But if they're spending a whole lot of money on that spray paint, and after repeatedly painting over it, we saw much less of it. And so that's what always worries me about contacting the agencies and the waiting period, because the longer you wait, then that's more invitation, where if it gets out of there right away, and that's the only comment I'll make on that.
Yes, we encourage people to have, if you have the resources to have it cleaned yourself, we encourage you to clean it as soon as possible. But one of the main things we also encourage you to do is to document and keep pictures of it, just in case we arrest someone that's responsible for that tag, because that picture becomes our evidence. So if you choose to and have the resources to clean it off yourself, we just ask you to document the graffiti so we could use it possibly later. But I do agree that if you clean it off as fast as possible, if the graffiti taggers know you're going to clean it off, they'll be less likely, especially to do a large mural, because they want it to be seen. They don't want it cleaned off. They want it to be seen. Right. So I totally agree with you.
Right.
Okay.
One of them was quite beautiful. It was almost a shame that it got painted over, but it was what had to be done, and it was painted over within 5 minutes of them finishing.
Oh, awesome. Awesome.
Now,
Anything else? Oh, Liz?
yeah, one more. I'm also afraid that we're getting graffiti on sidewalks, and most of it is directed towards the police. I've submitted several 311 tickets on this, so I'm gonna send you some images.
Okay, if you can send me the images and the locations, I can put an expedited request in with Graffiti Busters. And they're pretty good at responding to stuff, especially against the police. They're usually pretty fast at getting that stuff cleaned up.
Liz?
Yes, go ahead.
I actually took some photographs of some graffiti against the police. It was on Forbes Avenue. It was F the police, and reported that to the commander. And the next day, that was it was off. It was in front of Starbucks and all the way down Forbes for a few blocks. That was after a demonstration, and then I've noticed a lot of other places, like mailboxes and signs and such. There's more of a proliferation of graffiti as well, and some of those signs are knocked over as well, or taken out. And I've reported that and taken photographs of that and called 311, and then emailed the commander.
That's great. Thank you.
So I'm not so sure though what to do, because when there's graffiti on these postal boxes and signs and such, there's some the other day that I noticed that actually, cover the sign, and that becomes a safety hazard, or the signs are actually being pulled down.
With the signs, you can report that directly to DOMI. Just send them an email, but definitely 311 so that you can track the event. And as far as the mailbox goes, the federal government has not been responsive to any of my multiple pleas. So we're probably going to be seeing the Oakland Gremlin will be back in action this summer.
And what she means by that is painting them out.
Yes.
Somebody.
Yeah,
Somebody will be painting over the boxes this summer. Once we get up, we have to be above 45 degrees to do that, unfortunately. And also something we're running into is they're using acid pens.
Oh,
Yeah.
On
see,
glass.
they etch more than just painting.
no.
Yeah, they destroy the entire, like if they tag a window, they destroy the entire window. There's no way to clean it off. It actually etches into the glass. Pretty common tool for graffiti taggers.
Yeah, they do that in bars and stuff too.
Yes.
Yeah, Liz, I think I didn't get up to see what it is, but on the bus shelter on Juliet there's something on that glass. So I'm guessing that's probably etching too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So what does the etching look like? Is it black, or is it pink, or is it like a
Kind
pen?
of frosted. Like etched glass.
Oh, okay. And is it wide? I don't know that I've ever seen this.
It varies, yeah.
Like using a Sharpie.
Okay. All right.
Sometimes it's wider. I mean, you can buy it more of a paint. Like I've seen it thicker.
So is that more for tags, or is that like a visual art kind of thing?
Whatever they want to do with it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would say most often that I've seen it, it's writing.
It actually has an artistic purpose. It's actually an artistic tool.
Right.
I do glass etching myself. You will put a stencil over top of and for people, they're graphic designers. If it's used for graphic design. So if you had, like, you wanted your name, you see it sometimes when a business has a name that's frosted, but it has an actual artistic purpose. But sometimes it comes in like a bingo marker shape tool where you can actually write your name, but it looks like a bingo marker, but it actually etches the glass. But it does have an actual artistic use, but that's not what the taggers use it for.
is there a way to clean that or rectify that?
No, that destroys the surface.
Destroys the entire window. And if it happens, we encourage the victims, you have to keep track of the actual cost of the window replacement. So if we charge the person, they won't be charged with a little tag. They'll be charged with the actual replacement of a window, which can get pretty expensive if it's a business window that has like a big storefront. That we charge them with the cost of the window replacement.
Sure.
But again, to do anything, you need to have that CCR.
The CCR number, yes.
Okay. Has anybody talked to 311 about maybe completing the loop by sending a CCR number back to the people that are filing these tickets? Because I don't know how many tickets I filed. I've never received anything.
Yeah, well, the CCR number, it's not really necessary to get a CCR number to do a 311 complaint, because it may just be just a complaint that you see graffiti in the neighborhood. I think a lot of times we get complaints that people are complaining about graffiti on other people's property.
Oh, that's most of what I do.
Yeah, right.
Not all.
Right. So, and then the CCR number is just for the victim to have the graffiti cleaned off and to document for themselves. The process that we were coming up with, we wanted to, and we were kind of stalled out, was to have the ability. I can't issue citations for people who allow their properties to be have graffiti on it, because it's actually a violation in the city code. You can't have graffiti on your property. So we don't really want to punish the victims, but we want to encourage like business owners that have buildings that they just don't clean off. And we want to add into the language that that I, as a detective, can cite those building owners, so you don't have properties that are just left over, because you can't really force a person to clean their property. So if you have a neighbor that just leaves graffiti on their property, you know what I mean, and your building is clean and all the rest of the buildings are clean, you have this one neighbor, you know, we want to have the ability that I can do it, because right now it's just building inspection and they're backlogged with everything. But the language is pretty specific. The building inspection has to be the people who issue the citation, and we want to change that.
Anything else for Detective Sloan? All right, thank you very much. We're thrilled to see all of you today. We have a very full house, which is great, but we have many reports. So to be able to stick to 90 minutes, we're going to have to ask you to try to stick to 5 minutes. And up first, we have Pittsburgh Police Zone 4. I see Officer Schifrin and Sergeant Griffin. Do you have your acting commander with us today?
Yes.
No, we don't have him. He had to attend another meeting.
Okay, so
You can make it.
whichever one of you wants to take it.
Okay, yeah, this is Officer Schifrin. So the two time periods will be from November 19th to January 19th, those 2 months. And those numbers will be compared to January 21st to February 21st. And you'll see that there's generally across the board been a real great decrease in the numbers. Robberies went from 4 down to 1. Burglaries went from 11 down to 0. Stolen vehicles from 5 to 1. Theft from auto, 10 down to 2. Theft from business, 11 down to 4. Theft from residence, from 10 down to 2. Theft by deception, 6 down to 0, none. Criminal trespass, 2 down to 0. And robbery was the, aggravated assault was the only one that climbed, and that went from 1 to 2. So the overall numbers there came in at, from 66, they went down to 13. Let me also review the arrest numbers that we've got. And they were all low numbers. DUI, there was 1. Simple assault, 2. Operating vehicle after suspension, that was 1. Retail theft, 2. Bench warrant, 2. Disorderly conduct, 1. Drug paraphernalia, use or possession was 1. Aggravated assault, 1. Possession of controlled substance, 1. And 1 burglary. And the total there was 13. The first numbers I read, by the way, again, that covered a 2-month period, and we didn't meet in December, so that's why you see those numbers as, as higher, as relatively high. So, any questions? Okay, I'll mention this also, just because we do each month. The weekly snapshot is available, and I'm glad to be happy to include your name on the list and send it to you by email. and gives further breakdowns and also some tips on how you can be safer. So feel free. I think Liz, you always include the
Mhm.
address. Okay, great. And feel free to ask to be included on the list if you like. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank
You bet.
you. Public safety, John?
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you today?
Great.
I'll keep my report short because there's really a lot that's still being worked on. First of all, the Zone 4 Public Safety Council meeting will be tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. Liz, if you contact Liz, she can provide you with the link site to sign up for the Zoom account. It's going to be interesting. We're going to have a team of medical experts from Children's Hospital, UPMC, discussing the COVID-19 pandemic, the who, what, where, and how of it, and how inoculations are being occurred or being planned and studied and then being ready to be carried out. So they can give you have every question of yours answered that have been difficult to get straight answers on or just having a hard time talking to the right people. So we hope you can join us. It'll be very good. And of course, our Zone 4 police will be there also. Outside that, details are still being worked out for the Citizens and Student Police Academy. As soon as I get that, I hope to get it to you as soon as possible. Again, I'll get that to Liz to distribute to everybody. We are planning, right now I'm in the midst of planning with our Department of Innovation and Performance website to register any parties who would like to have a celebration for National Night Out. Now we're holding our breath on that because it's always the first Tuesday of August. So we're being very hopeful and optimistic. Again, we will see what we will see. And other than that, progress is still being made slow as it is, but a lot of it's been the result of the pandemic of constructing membership for the board who oversees and reviews the properties that are causing you problems in the community. You know, getting people to come out and talk and do what we have to do in order to submit a full list to the mayor for his approval is taking some time. People are just apprehensive about everything. So as soon as we can, we'll have the disruptive properties board up and running. I know Ian's been getting regular reports on properties being reported. So they're being reported in. It's just a matter of basically adjudicating them. Any questions, any concerns, or any needs? All right, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. University of Pittsburgh Police, Heather or Jeff?
Hello, everyone. I'm actually, I think Officer Johnson here, he jumped on, but he was in another meeting, so I had to cover for him today with the stats. So I'll quickly go over our stats here from January. Total of 31 reported incidents, 4 resulting in arrest, summons 15 and citations, 8 were affiliated, 12 were non-affiliated, 11 on campus, and 21 off campus. And to just go through them more specifically, criminal mischief, 1 reported, and that was off campus. Drug violations, we have 1 reported, which resulted in an arrest. It was a non-affiliate off campus. DUI, 2 reported, 2 resulting in arrest. Both of them non-affiliate and both off campus. 1 false ID resulting in arrest. That was a non-affiliate off campus. 1 harassment, and that was on campus. Oh wait, am I reading the right thing here? 1 harassment, and I believe that was, let's see here. I have 1 on campus and 1 off campus, and that might have been an unfounded one. Noise control, 1 reported, and that was off campus. Obstructing highways, 1 reported, resulting in a citation, non-affiliate, and that was off campus. Open container, 3 reported, 3 citations issued. They were all non-affiliate and off campus. Panhandling, 2 reported, 1 resulting in a citation. The other one would have been a warning. both non-affiliate and off-campus. Public drunkenness, 2 reported, 2 citations issued, both non-affiliates and both off-campus. Suspicious persons, there were 6 reported. 2 of them were off-campus and 2 on campus and 4 off-campus. Theft, we had 2 reported, 2, and both were on campus. Underage drinking, 3 reports, 3 citations issued, 3 affiliated, 2 were on campus and 1 off campus. As far as conduct referrals, we had 5 reported, 5 citations issued, 5 affiliates, 4 on campus and 1 off campus. Let's see here. As far as the conduct referrals go, of those 5, 1 of them was for underage drinking, and that was off campus. And 4 of them were just violations of university rules and regulations, 4 on campus. January was a little, our students weren't really back yet, so most of those stats were dealing with non-affiliates. And I don't know, Jeff, do you have anything to report? Jeff is new to our unit, so you'll probably see more of him at these meetings.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
You know, I like to say, when I'm working in the university on the campus, and we were talking about tagging. If anybody finds any tagging on the sidewalk or very in the vicinity, immediate vicinity of the university, we'll get the cleaners, we'll get the custodians to clean that up. I've worked on fun stuff on the sidewalks before. I got university personnel to get there very quickly and clean everything up. So if anybody sees any problem, any tagging very close to the vicinity of the university, we'll get a hold of people, get that cleaned up for you.
I will add you to my list.
Okay, thank you, Liz.
And I see Officer Johnson has joined us. Do you have anything to add?
Well, I'd just like to say that the reason why Heather and Jeff is here because I'm exiting. I'm retiring, so I'll be done end of April. And after 37 years, and I see our friend Dr. Wild's on. Maybe I can join him for lunch sometime. You know, we can be 2 retired guys together. So it's been a pleasure working with Oakwatch. I tell you, started out in 2013, and my first meeting, I didn't know what I was getting into. I really didn't. And
neither did I. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's been a pleasure. You know, it's been a pleasure working with everybody. The things that we've accomplished, I think, were great. We've turned some things around. It's always a continual work because new students are coming in every year, but working to keep things better quality of life for those permanent residents in Oakland. We've done so many knock and talks and talked to our students about their behavior, and I think we accomplished a lot. And I know that those that are coming in after me will do a great job. But let every one of you all know it was a pleasure working with Oakwatch, and hope the best for everyone.
Well, we appreciate everything you've done. A lot has really turned around, and you're going to miss those knock and talks. You just wait.
Yes.
And tons
Officer
of emails.
Johnson, Officer Johnson, you'll be missed.
Yeah,
Thank
you'll
you.
be missed.
You'll be missed, and you're greatly appreciated. And it'll be hard to replace you at the university, but God bless you and enjoy your retirement in good health. And just know that you're most appreciated.
Thank you.
You're going to be so bored.
You know, I
And you can still come back to Oakwatch meetings. You know, this is
That's
a thing.
right.
listen. If I had the time, I right above my head is a 3-ring binder of when I first started with Oakwatch, and most of those was because of Mark calling 911. So I still have a record of all those calls made to 911, and I followed up on all of them. You know, so
I greatly appreciate it. Yeah.
All right.
You have that binder for posterity. Now we don't have to get you that watch.
That's right. All right. We need to move on. Office of the Mayor. I don't think Eric is with us. Leah, are you taking over? Or have I missed Eric?
Yeah, Eric is out of office or whatever we're doing these days for 2 weeks, so I am here instead.
Alright, welcome.
Thanks, everyone. Hi, I'm Leah from the Office of Community Affairs at the City of Pittsburgh, here on behalf of Mayor Peduto. I just have a few quick announcements. I can post links to everything that I mentioned in the chat, and I'll send them to Liz as well, so you all can access them. The City of Pittsburgh and Allegheny County are in the process of establishing a $36 million COVID-19 emergency rental assistance program. This is using federal funds. It's a big undertaking. The county already kind of has the infrastructure in place to make this work quickly and efficiently for Allegheny County and City of Pittsburgh residents, which is why we're partnering with them on our piece of the funding. I have a link that you can sign up. Residents can sign up to receive updates when signups launch. So if you know anybody who may need rental assistance due to COVID-19, this is where they can get it. Like I said, it's not open quite yet, but it will be, and you can sign up for updates. Let's see, the Oliver Bathhouse on the city's south side, which is obviously not here in Oakland, but we do consider it a citywide asset and historic structure in the city of Pittsburgh. We know people from all neighborhoods love to utilize it. It is undergoing a preservation and rehabilitation project that's going to take a couple of years. Right now, the Department of Public Works and the City Parks Department, who do programming there, are asking for residents to share their stories about the Oliver Bathhouse. There's a place to do that on our Engage PGH website, which is the city's new online engagement platform. As we get further into the design and construction process, we are going to have a community process, ask for feedback on design changes and programming and things like that. So those opportunities will be available through that website as well. And I will put the link in the chat. And then the last one is Civic Leadership Academy is now being hosted virtually for the second time. We actually just finished our first virtual cohort, which was interesting. Applications are now open for our second virtual cohort. It's going to start April 14th and go until June 23rd. This is an 11-week course for residents and business owners in the city of Pittsburgh to learn more about the operations of city government. So if it's something that you or someone you know is interested in, you can apply at applycla.pittsburghpa.gov. And I think that's it. Just a quick shout out that we are still accepting signups for Snow Angel volunteers and neighbors in need. I think there might be something similar going on in Oakland as well. But we are still doing that, and that's it for me. And of course, I know everybody is anxiously awaiting rental registration updates. I know that Bob from Councilman Krause's office and Liz have been in observing in court, so I'm sure they'll have updates for you.
Thank you, Leah.
Yep.
Office of Nighttime Economy, Emily.
Hello.
There you are.
So this time of year, Allison and I would typically begin planning for St. Patrick's Day, but this year we anticipate it's going to look quite different. We have not heard anything yet as far as added restrictions like we saw for Thanksgiving Eve. So it's kind of unknown what St. Patrick's Day is going to look like. As far as some businesses will be open, they will be, maximum 50% capacity would still apply if they're self-certified, no seating at the bar, the meal requirement for buying alcohol, all of that, as far as we know, would still apply because that's what's in effect today. But we are planning to meet with bars in the South Side like we do every year, just to give them like a prep of here are the rules. Let's go over this again. What to do to prevent overcrowding and making sure you're at capacity and following restrictions if you stay open for indoor service, stuff like that. So that said, there might be more house parties this year. So be on the lookout. Allison's going to reach out to the universities, and we're going to, try and strategize with universities about getting messaging out to students, which we do every year, about, being responsible. This year, there's going to be the added layer of COVID restrictions. And that's really it for me right now, as far as what pertains to this group. Do you guys have any questions or concerns about, is there any like unusual nightlife activity you have concerns about? I do monitor 311 complaints, and I haven't seen much in Oakland about house parties or anything, but.
Yeah, not house parties, but I actually filed a 311 for stacked because not constantly, but I've seen at least a few nights like Friday, Saturdays that it's hard to believe that that's 50% capacity or less. And I've seen it where, especially on cold nights, they will have upwards of 6, 8, 10 people crammed into that little vestibule.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, I'll check on that. You said you put that through 311 before?
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing it. You've done it a couple times, yeah.
I think stacked just once. Yeah, there may have been other complaints, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll check and make sure it gets forwarded to the health department, because they are enforcing the COVID restrictions for businesses. And you can always go on the health department website, and I'll get that link and put it in the chat too, where if you see, for anybody, if you see any kind of COVID restriction concerns, you're not sure, it's on the fence, you can just go ahead and fill out the form and they'll check it out, and if the business is in compliance, then they are. And if they're not, then there are repercussions. And it's better to, if you're not sure, it's better to keep everybody safe, right? So I'll put that in the chat and I'll look at that.
So health department instead of, or in addition to 311?
You can do it in addition to. The health department is connected to our 311 system. So anything that's like a food safety complaint or a COVID complaint about like a food business will go to the health department, but I'm going to look yours up just to make sure that they got it. But you can also go directly to their website and file a complaint online.
Okay, thanks.
I have a question.
Yes.
Unmuted. And mine might actually be for the police rather than for you. But anyway, I thank Officer Guy Johnson for stopping by a house on Lawn Street and having a walk and talk with some young people. And I don't know all the details about what happened, but a couple weeks ago, there was some sort of party. And I understand that it has to deal with a fraternity. And as a neighbor and a homeowner, I don't like to make idle threats, but besides telling these young people that perhaps their lease wouldn't be renewed, is what happens to a fraternity if somebody finds out that there is a specific fraternity and COVID has been violated, how much can I threaten?
So that I don't know. That would be either police or the universities. I don't know if someone else wants to jump in on that.
But you do have some kind of COVID rules.
My office does not.
No, okay, all right.
Millie, I can say from the university that, those students are treated like any other students as far as the student code of conduct goes. So the parameters that we have in place for warnings and punishment in terms of violations or parties stand for them as well. As an added layer, anything to deal with fraternity and sorority life is directed to that office. And they have a series of parameters and processes that they handle in terms of the severity of
So is
violations.
that information available to me to look at and say, okay, guys, this is enough. I'm calling Pitt. I already did have Officer Guy Johnson stop by and talk to them, but if it continues, right now nothing's happening because it's too cold. But am I allowed to look at that Pitt site to find out that I could have reported them and their fraternity would have been sanctioned, could have been sanctioned, they could have been sanctioned about, you know, their
Right.
grades or whatever? Am I available to look at, can I look at that? Or is that just, must I be a university person to look at that?
Let me talk to Lexi, who runs that office, and I'll see what I can get and get back to you.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, I'm not going to threaten them if it's an idle threat. These guys are bigger than me and there's more of them than me. And, you know,
Well, they also,
I'm
I mean,
off unless I know that I can say something that's for real.
Well,
That or
I mean,
just
you don't
look-
have to use the fraternity, the context. Like I said, I mean, we're holding all our students to the same standard.
Okay, so the fraternity,
athletes or students or anything like that. Yeah.
okay, so fraternity has no extra set of rules. I thought maybe they did.
Google their fraternity and contact the national charter. I mean,
If it's an official, I mean, it's not an official house, right? Let's talk offline, Millie. Let's talk offline.
Yeah, okay, all right, thanks.
Yeah,
Al.
just let you know that I turned my report in as far as the group being together. At the person that I talked to said he wasn't a part of any fraternity. And
Right.
so of course, but he did tell me that there were some guys in that house that are. So
Yes.
that's not necessarily
Yes.
considered a fraternity house.
Yeah.
Right,
You know,
exactly.
because they're not saying that they're all together as a fraternity.
Yes.
But as far as just being the group, being together, having 15 people, I think I put in my report. So the university does follow up on that. So we turn those reports in when we have those group contacts that aren't quarantining and not you know, keeping safe distance. And so all those are turned into to university. So unfortunately, I don't have a follow-up of what they've done. There's so many of them. We just do the knock and talks and talk to them.
Okay,
you know,
all right.
like,
So is 15 a magic number?
I don't know what the magic number is. Whenever there's more than they shouldn't been more than live there at this particular
More
time.
than 6, is that what I hear?
I'm
No,
sorry.
I believe it is 15. If you go to coronavirus.pitt.edu, there's the standard and guidelines that you can click on, but also, and I'd use this, go down to the bottom of the page and there's a little air balloon that says report a concern. So you can also report it there.
And where is that, Liz? I didn't catch that.
Coronavirus.pitt.edu.
Right.
The same site that we've been using, and Eric did post the link to that in the chat, so thank you for that. Now that the shelter in place has been lifted, we are allowing some more group gatherings. So, you know, following the safety guidelines that are in place normally, students are going to be able to get dine-in services, have some rec center access. And I believe that we're saying it's okay up to groups of 25 getting together, trying to stay in your pod, in your household, and in your immediate circle.
Okay.
And any of those activities have to be approved through the dean's office. So if there's any activities that is an actual program, that has to be approved. So there are mechanisms in place. But in terms of off-campus, I know I've been told if it looks like there's more than one pod, i.e. more than one household together, then that's worth following up about.
Okay.
Well, there have been parties while there's supposed to be shelter in place in Oak Cliff, which I can speak to. So since the shelter in place has been lifted and the groups can be larger, can we get a Pitt police presence going, you know, driving through the neighborhood, or can we get Dean Bonner and possibly Paul Supowitz, you know, doing their walkthroughs as they did before?
We're working on that. The weather right now, I don't want us to get hypothermia at this moment, but we are working on resuming the walks once the weather allows it for Friday and Saturday nights.
Yeah, and you can report that to us because our impact is back operating. So we have officers out on impact, so they are making reports. I have some stats from the past couple of weekends, and I even worked one afternoon and I shut down a party, and so that report was in. So they wanted us to send in a report, a conduct referral for that house. So university is following up on these incidents.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, so Emily, we left with you. Anything else?
No, that's all I got.
Okay, Gwen, Parking Authority. So Gwen, you gave us a report. Thank you very much. It's not necessary to read the report. Do you have anything to add to it? Because I have some questions for you.
Okay, I'll just add that we've got nighttime enforcement beginning again on March 1st.
How did you know that was one of my questions?
I know you were waiting for it. Also in Area C, we will have enforcement beginning there on Monday.
That was my other question. And
How
so
about
that takes care of my third question, is that your staffing must have improved.
Staffing is starting to get better. So we now have all of our full-time officers back, and we've brought our number up to 20. And then beginning on February 22nd, we have the return of our part-time officers, but because we hire from that staff to fill our part-time, we only have 3 part-timers at this point. So we are going to maintain that staffing until the city opens up a little more. Our evening enforcement will go until 10 o'clock, not until midnight. We're just waiting for the city to open up a bit more.
And you said that Area C is going to start being enforced. What about Area FF in Shenley Farms?
We'll get that covered beginning on Monday.
Okay, great. Does anybody have anything else for Gwen? All right, on to PLI, Desiree. The property report was also with the agenda.
Yes, I'm not gonna, for time, I won't go through everything unless someone has a specific question about a property. I will say, things on our end are kind of getting stuck at the magistrate level in a lot of things due to the magistrate being a little bit behind. So, patience is, we're all learning a little bit of patience with this, and unfortunately, a lot of properties are just sitting in the hands of courts at this point. One update yesterday, I did hear back from Boundary about all the cars being parked in that vacant lot, which you're not supposed to. Liz was CC'd on that email. I'm going to reach out to him again today, basically telling him they all need to be removed. I know we have a court hearing in May, but I'd like them to be removed before then. Unfortunately, we can't just go in and remove them, so he has to have it done himself. But we have been in contact with him. He's aware of the situation, so hopefully he will do something with it. Other than that, most of the stuff is just kind of in limbo. We tried to do a little bit more of an in-depth search on 1 Aries, and we haven't found another good address. The only current address that's showing up is that address, so the owner's kind of MIA, I guess, at this point. Yeah, those are the main things going on. Unless you guys have a specific question, I'm not going to keep you too long on with PLI. Like always, you're always more than willing to reach out to me. I can add my email to the chat so you guys all have it. Feel free to reach out with any property questions. I'm trying to get back to you as soon as I can with hopefully a good answer.
So this is Mark. So the zero boundary, I don't know. I know at least at one point, some of the people working there were actually the Duquesne Light employees. So maybe warning them that those cars could be tagged and towed might get a few less cars parking there.
Since that's private property, we can't tag them. It has to be.
Okay. I was thinking the threat might cause them to wake up a little bit.
Yeah.
And the owner has been aware of the situation.
Yeah. I sent him a bunch of pictures from yesterday, how many cars were there, and there was a lot more than there has been in the past. And I don't know if it's because of the snow and trying to get off the street or what's going on, but
No, it's just free parking.
Yeah.
And and I've done more than a few, but I've been documenting, but I haven't had time to report. And Liz, what's the zigzag house on Ward Street? I've actually seen upwards of 5 cars parked in there now.
Oh, Yeah, I know which one you mean. I do
It's
not know
changed.
the number off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a-
that's price is lowered on that, by the way.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure.
it has the chain, the owner has the chain, the owner of the property has the chain up. But people are using the driveway of the house to the right of it to then go park over there. So I'll get a hold of
Why
the
not?
owner of the house to the right.
What address is that, Liz?
It's on Ward Street, and I'm sorry.
32 something, yeah.
It's an empty lot. It's called the Zigzag House because that's what was proposed but didn't make it.
Yeah.
So there is no house.
I have a question about the Niagara Street houses. Elena, isn't one of those ones that we keep an eye on, 3202, is it? The one where there's just
3202, yes.
And I don't understand what this means. So there was a couch on the porch. So that's great, but there's more things happening there than that. And I don't understand what the comment means, case dismissed as no service means, and what dead end property. What do those mean?
So okay, now you're talking about 3204, or which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, I forget the name of the house that we were watching that had been changed into a rooming house.
3202 Niagara.
Yeah.
3202 was dismissed from an LAR hearing that they were in.
Sorry, I don't know what an LAR hearing is.
It's a review board of the violations on the property, so they can do it with after the first violations they receive. They can fight the violations, which is put in front of a board, which they won it. They won the battle. So at this point, we're kind of stuck on this one until I don't know the full. There's a lot more to this property than I know about.
We can fill you in. We don't want to take all that time now, but is the review board not public? Like, we knew nothing about it.
No, it's not public. It's through our department.
Okay.
Well, then
we can talk offline about that property. And Millie, the 3204 is the Paul Keyes house.
Right, that's what I thought that was. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Okay, thank you.
Liz.
Yes.
Before I get booted out for the fourth time out of the meeting, did Gwen finish?
Yes.
Yes, hon, she has.
May I just say something that it's important?
Sure.
And I've done 311s, and I've emailed the acting commander of our zone. There are tons. I counted 18 2 weeks ago of just in the of parking violations. And I just went through 4 blocks of Central and South Oakland, Bates, Oakland Avenue, Bouquet, all but 2 fire hydrants, parking on fire hydrants. 1 car vehicle was parked, just moved yesterday for 2.5 weeks, didn't move their vehicle, sent photographs to the commander. There's a lot of parking violations. They're even parked on the corner, and actually on the handicapped corners, on top of the handicapped metal platelets, on literally the corners. I've never witnessed the amount of illegal parking in South and Central Oakland. And I was on my way home one evening, and I just couldn't I just couldn't help notice car after car after car, and particularly all but 2 fire hydrants. And before, when I stopped parking enforcement and I asked them to tag the 1 vehicle, she said she'd let it slide because it's only 5 feet away from the fire hydrant. But I mean, there's some of these cars that are literally parked on top of the fire hydrant. There are cars that are parked on top, halfway on top of the sidewalk.
Yeah.
So what can we do about that?
If you see a car that's illegally parked and putting the public safety at risk, dial 911.
I did that. And I actually, an officer showed up.
Yeah.
An officer showed up, and I pulled over because there were so many vehicles. There were 18 within less than a 3-block radius. and where I pulled over because I didn't want to give my residents to file a complaint at the time. Well, I was calling into 911, and when the officer came, he scolded me for where I was parked for a minute while waiting for him. We talked later and straightened that out, but he said that he would tag the cars that he felt that were most egregiously violating the laws. When I went after to see after how many cars that were illegally parked were tagged, there were 2. 3 of them were still parked on fire hydrants. And I let the commander know of my displeasure.
Yeah. One of the problems is that unlike the parking enforcement people, the police don't have the handhelds where, you know, there's codes and they can just zip it out. The police are, you know, handwriting the yellow tickets.
Well, actually,
Not an excuse, just saying.
Well, the officer that came, interestingly enough, where I pulled over, so because I thought I wasn't illegally parked in front of my friend's garage, he hopped out of the car and he told me under section, you're illegally parked in front of a garage, and it was parked there for all 30 seconds, and it was at my home actually, and I didn't know you couldn't park in front of the garage in your own home, but he informed me, he updated me. But the fact is that if we have all these vehicles, I've never seen so many vehicles, and for 2 weeks straight parked on the fire hydrants and next to them, like right next to them in the middle, there's a fire hydrant. So actually if they'd open their car door, their door would hit into the fire hydrant. So I'm not sure as to why when people are patrolling the area that they're not tagging these vehicles that are safety hazards.
No, they don't. It has to be called in.
Yeah, I've had the same issue. I've called it on people parked blocking a fire hydrant or within inches of a fire hydrant, and some of the officers are reluctant to write tickets.
Why is that?
Because they're handwritten, you know, it's a long form, it's handwritten. I don't know, I'm guessing.
Yeah, guys, you know what, in the hope of, because we're running. Janice, I'll speak with you about this offline, okay? And I will also speak with the commander, all right?
Fair enough, thank you.
All right, moving on to City Council. Bob Charland, I know that you are with us from Councilperson Krause's office.
Yes, in the interest of keeping everything short here, I am in between, and Leah actually said most of my announcements here, so if we can just keep that going where Leah reports for me every time, I'd appreciate that. But I do want to mention that both Liz and I have been spending the week with the rental registry case, which is super exciting for many Oakwatches. I've been here and there have been no updates really for the rental registry. It is finally being argued in court. I feel like it's going very well, but I'm not an attorney, so you know my opinion should only be taken with a grain of salt. But it does feel like the city has a very strong case, and the folks arguing don't have a strong case. The argument is, or the question in front of the court is the $65 charge for rental registration appropriate? Was it calculated appropriately? And essentially, is it not levying a tax on one class of citizens? And I don't know. I feel good about it. I'm very excited to see where it goes here moving forward. Any questions specifically on that, or anything? I guess anything else in our office? I will be quick and let anyone else go.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Yeah, keep us informed as
absolutely
when something happens legally. Councilperson Strasburger, are you still with us?
She was here.
She was for a long time. Okay, if she is,
Ron is here somewhere.
she'll jump on. And Davon? There's Davon.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My connection started like lagging as soon as you said council. It was like, I'm sorry. The council person actually had to leave for a 1 o'clock meeting. But the announcement that I have isn't that exhaustive. Pretty much, we're continuing with our social media campaign, Humans of District 8. If you guys are not familiar with that, it's based off like the New York Humans of New York social media campaign, which pretty much just highlights different citizens. This one in particular focuses on businesses in District 8. So I will post that in the group chat. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to let me know.
Does anybody have any questions for Davon? Okay, and next is Councilperson Lavelle's office, Cassandra. Cassandra's not.
I'd like to say something about Lavelle's office. They handled registration for the Macedonia Face at the old Shop and Save just brilliantly. And it came from Lavelle's office through the nonprofit Macedonia Face, and it's continuing, and they've got another round of it going for first timers and over 65. And the injections are given by the Pitts Department of Pharmacy students. And it just went like clockwork. It was just amazing. And the office was great in answering questions, and it's just super.
Oh, great. Always good to hear. All right, on to University of Pittsburgh. Alex.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. It's nice to see you all. For those who are unaware, I'm just back from paternity leave this week, so I'm just getting my feet under me. Don't have too many updates. We talked a little bit about our students returning and our continued efforts to manage and mitigate coronavirus impact on campus and around community of Oakland and throughout Pittsburgh. So if you have any other questions on that, I'm happy to answer them now or offline. The one thing I'll note is that our institutional master plan is finally on the agenda for the Planning Commission. It's going to get broken into probably 3 review sessions because it's so large. And so the first of those is next week, February 23rd. I think we're 3rd on the agenda, and those meetings start at 1 p.m. publicly accessible. So something to note and something that we're excited about. Otherwise, happy to answer any questions about Pitt. I'll drop my email in the chat, so if you do think of something, please reach out to me. But I am back on the scene, so you can let me know what you need.
And congrats, Alex.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Do you have somebody specific that's working about the elections? You had one person before the general. Is the same guy?
In regards to what?
Elections, registration, anything else, mail-in ballots, any of that stuff.
Well, I mean, we have. Why don't we connect on offline and we'll talk about that.
Okay, I'm the judge of the 4-7 and the 4-8
Right.
Preventi. We all sort of work together. So okay,
Yep,
great.
understood.
I'll contact you directly. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And the SGB board, Eric or Ryan? I see you.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, so first, just a few updates from Student Government Board. First, I just want to tell you guys a little bit about our upcoming election. So Pitt Student Government Board's annual election for our president and 8 board positions will take place on March 2nd from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. All undergraduate students not solely enrolled in the College of General Studies are eligible to vote. This is a competitive election with 12 students running for board and 3 for president. So we look forward to updating you on the results at our next meeting. I also wanted to highlight the upcoming Zero Waste Week. This year, Pitt Sustainability's Zero Waste Week will be taking place from Sunday, February 21st to Friday, February 26th. Throughout this week, students will have the opportunity to participate in a variety of virtual events and competitions centered around recycling and sustainability education. Some of the planned events include the Face Your Waste Challenge, Ask a Professor, and a recycling workshop with the PA Resources Council. I'd also just like to highlight that Kenyon Bonner, the Dean of Students, has taken a new role as Vice Provost of Student Affairs, and there is now a national search for a new Dean of Students. And
Whoa, that's a surprise.
yeah. And then what else do we have here? And then neighborhood safety. SGB is working with Student Affairs to promote safe activities for St. Patrick's Day to avoid large gatherings like some that may have happened this past semester on Halloween. Just maintaining social distancing and mask wearing and all that good stuff. And then finally, SGB has officially established a student subcommittee for the Public Safety Advisory Council to promote barter feedback mechanisms between students and law enforcement on campus. And I think that's all I have for you guys.
And I put a bunch of links in the comments. One of them is the article highlighting Dean Bonner's next role that he'll be taking up, hopefully this summer, as we are going to be undergoing a national search for our next Dean of Students.
Okay, thank you. And I see Mavis from OTMA has joined us today. Mavis, do you have anything you need to report?
Hi, Elena. Hi, everyone. No, just wanted to let you know that I will be talking with Dan DeBone at the Port Authority regarding the proposed Crafton Hamlet BRT layover station. So
Okay.
we'll have a report. Also, we're gathering emissions, diesel emissions data that we're going to use to kind of challenge that location for a layover station.
Oh, okay, great. Please see, so thank you, everybody. It was good to see so many new faces and some old faces. John Wilds, I'm talking to you.
Hey,
please see the note regarding a mobility hub in Oakland that is that was attached, that's with the agenda after the property list. And our next meeting is Wednesday, March 17th at 6 p.m. See you then.
Forget if the PLI person's still here, but it's 3247 Ward Street. It's lot 29-C-214.
She is gone.
Okay, I see Liz writing, so she.
Yeah, no, I'll talk with the neighbor because he actually did appear at zoning about that lot, so I can talk to him. Cool. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next month. Have a safe month going forward. Be safe, wear a mask.